What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Real Talk Recovery, where we talk about recovery from addiction and I share my life with you. My name is Nicole and I'm a person in recovery. My sobriety date is July 13th of 2015. Tonight, you guys, we are going to talk about the desperation that addiction causes. We are going to talk about that and we are going to talk about how we just hit 92,000 friends and family members here on TikTok. So y'all come on in because it's going to be a good time. I was going to lay down, but then I thought we just hit 92K. We need to talk about the celebration of hitting 92,000. So let me set y'all up. There we go. Come on in. Hey, Morgan. Hey, Neil.
Yeah.
Will you bring me my drink?
Yeah.
It's right there on my dresser. Come on in, everybody. We're going to celebrate together. We just hit 92K today. And I want to tell you guys how grateful I am for each and every one of you guys that are following me. Seriously, thank you so much for believing in me and following me here on TikTok. Thank you for watching my content. It really, really means a lot to me. I really, 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 really appreciate it, you guys. We just hit 92,000 on TikTok.
Heck yeah.
Hey, Noah, what's up, baby? So here we go. Come on in, everybody. Share the video, please. Share the video. Share the live stream. And I'm going to get to talking. So I want to talk to you guys about desperation. So there's many times during my active addiction that I was blessed with the gift of desperation. Do you know what the gift of desperation is? The gift of desperation is that just right ass whooping that every drug addict and alcoholic gets, where they're finally ready to wave the white flag of surrender and ask for help. Okay? That is the gift of desperation. And I'm going to share with you guys today how many times I've gotten the gift of desperation, because I've had it a couple of times. So, when I was in my active addiction, you guys, I quickly became an IV user. It was probably like 5 or 6 years into my sobriety. I came back on, that I became an IV user, okay? I was addicted to drugs for about 15 years. So I was addicted to the needle for about 10 years and just regular drugs for 5 years. So one of the things that happened to me that I realized, damn, I'm super desperate, like this shit's for real, was I had started shooting up and I was living with my friend Nate. He was making methamphetamine and we were living in his trailer, and there was this bathroom that everyone would go to and they would prepare their shots of meth. Sometimes they would shoot up in there, but for the most part, they would just go in there and prepare their shots and then come out, right? Well, there was a sink in the bathroom, and you know how the sink has an underneath? Well, there was this little tray in there that everybody would stick their used spoons on with the cotton and then the crystal methamphetamine residue. Well, me, being the fiend that I was, would come in there, go through all the spoons and get all the spoons and rinse them and shoot it up. So God knows what all was on there. It could have been other people's blood. It could have been anything, you guys. It could have been bacteria, infections, all kinds of stuff. But that was how desperate I was to get that feeling, to have that feeling and get it inside of me that I would use after people that I didn't even know. Some of you might be going, well, it's not that big of a deal. It was just the rinse. Y'all. And the whole process of shooting up, the cotton, the needle, the spoon, everything is contaminated when you use it. And so that was one of the desperate times that drug addiction took me to. Another really desperate time that my drug addiction took me to was when I was out of pills. I did not get paid until Thursday. It was a Wednesday. And I had no money and I needed my fix. And so I drove over to my dealer's house. And I remember asking him, hey, can you front me just a couple of Norcos? Just a couple of Norcos and I'll be fine. Hey, Destiny, this fool would not front me. And so I had sex with him. I didn't want to, but I did it because I needed to get my fix. Hey, Caitlin, I was just talking about you today. I was telling everybody that is my recovery people to text me today. So text me, girl. Text me so we can plan a chat together, okay? So that was another desperate time that I had where I put my addiction before my own self-esteem and my own self-worth. And every time I would sleep with a man for drugs, it made me feel worse and worse and worse and worse. And I hated myself more and more and more. But I couldn't stop doing it. I couldn't stop doing it. Caitlin, we had the best group. I'm uploading it on YouTube right now about triggers and coping skills. So it was a 2-hour long live stream. I'll let you know when it's uploaded because you'll want to watch it. Yes, I've tried Xanax. They're literally mind erasers in a pill. Okay, son? Mind erasers in a pill. Happy 5 months, Kathy. Love you, girl. So that was another desperate thing I did in my addiction. Another really desperate thing I did when I was in my addiction was I was over at my friend Chris's house. This is after my son was born. I had relapsed really bad on methamphetamine and I didn't have a syringe to shoot up with. So I said, hey, Chris, let me use your syringe. And he goes, well, I have hepatitis C. You don't want to use after me. And I looked him dead in the eyes and I said, it's not a big deal. I'll just rinse it out with bleach. And I shot up after him. And that's how I caught hepatitis C. My addiction took me down through there. Seroquel? Okay, Kathy. Yeah, just have them message me. Or they can call me on the 1-800 number in my bio. It comes straight to my phone. So that's how I caught hepatitis C. Now, why am I telling you guys all these things? Am I telling you guys these things because I'm proud of them? No. I'm telling you guys these things because this is the truth of addiction. This is what happens to people when they are addicted. When someone is out there and they are in their addiction, they're not thinking about, oh, let me make sure that this rig is clean. Oh, let me make sure that I have protected sex. Oh, let me make sure that I respect my body. Oh, let me make sure that I don't drink and drive. These things aren't going through the person's mind, okay? When a person is at their worst, all they can think about is getting that drink or that drug into their body for the relief that they're seeking. Because that's what drugs and alcohol do to us. They give us relief. Hey, Caitlin. Hey, Amanda. Hey, Brenda. They give us relief from whatever we're dealing with, okay? And after many, many years of abusing drugs and alcohol, the guilt and shame just piles up, and piles up. So eventually, using is just a literal, it's literally us going back and forth, fucking ourselves off, okay? And so that's why the disease of addiction is so cunning, baffling, and powerful, because we will know that it's hurting us and we will be unable to stop doing what we're doing because we need to get that drug in our bodies so bad. And I want to share more about these things because I want people to understand. I'm sick and tired of seeing people like judge people who have addiction and make fun of people who have addiction and say things like, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that if I was, addicted. Well, you never know. Hey, Stephanie, you never know hey, Tracy, you never know what you would do until you become addicted, until you've walked a mile in a person's shoes who struggles with a disease of addiction. Now, I want you guys to ask yourselves this. Do you think a sane person Do you think a person in their right mind thinks about these kind of things and does these kind of things? Do you think a person in their right mind, hey Jean, hey Kayla, do you think a person in their right mind wants to sell their body for dope? Do you think a person in a healthy, sane mind wants to steal from their mother and father? Do you think a person in their sane, right mind wants to shoot up drugs with a used syringe? Do you guys think that that's somebody that's enjoying something like that? Do you think people enjoy to do that? And I really want to ask these questions because I want people who don't have the disease of addiction to ask themselves these questions. When I hear people say things like, you chose that, you're choosing that, you chose that life. When I hear people say, addiction is a choice, not a disease. Any rational, logical person can ask themselves these questions and answer without a shadow of a doubt. Well, hell no. Nobody wants to fucking give themselves hepatitis C. Nobody wants to stab their arm with a dull needle so many times to get through to the vein. That's not what a sane person does. Okay? That's the disease of addiction. And it's that simple. Everyone could understand the disease of addiction if they'd open their hearts and their minds and have some compassion. Okay? A person who is doing these things to their body is someone who is hurting on the inside. Someone who is in pain and sad and depressed and overwhelmed and full of anxiety. Someone that doesn't love themselves, okay? That is the disease of addiction. I wish more people could open their hearts and minds to understanding how the disease of addiction affects us and what it does. Now, am I making excuses and saying, oh, that's just my disease, I don't take any responsibility? Hell no! I take full responsibility for everything that I did when I was in my active addiction. But it's important for people to understand that we were sick and that we weren't wanting that. I didn't wake up one day and say, you know what? I'm going to become a drug addict. I'm going to become a drug addict and I'm going to shoot up and I'm going to ruin my life and I'm going to die and overdose and never come back and lose custody of my son. No, of course not. Of course not. When I was in my active addiction, I used to cry, you guys, because I knew that what I was doing was wrong. I knew that I needed to change. I just didn't know how to change. I didn't know what to do. I needed help. I needed support. I needed love. I needed guidance. I needed tolerance. I needed somebody to take me and say, it's going to be okay. We're going to help you get through this. I needed help. I didn't need judgment. I didn't need ridicule. I didn't need people looking down their nose at me. I needed help and I needed support. And that's why I'm here sharing with you guys, is I want to give you guys back the same support. I want to show you guys that recovery is possible and that you don't have to live your life in the sickness of addiction any longer. You don't have to be stuck depending on a drug to make you feel better. Okay? A lot of the times, you guys, that's what I was doing. I was chasing this constant high to make myself feel better. So what I would do was I would get high. Okay? I would get the relief. And then I would start being mad at myself for getting high. Then the high would go away and I'd be upset with myself. I'd be mad that I used. I would be depressed that I was high, that I fucked up. Addiction started when my dad brought a narcissist into our house. I believe something dark took over. Oh, wow, that's scary. Hey, Jean, I don't know what happened. I'm glad you were here and not where you were. You have your kid. Yeah, I have custody of my son. After a month in jail, could an 18-year-old go to outpatient rehab and meetings and stand a chance? TikTok truth, I think that your daughter needs to go into inpatient. No, I don't think they'll stand a chance. You know, I'm going to keep it real with you. I think that she needs to go inpatient for 6 months, 90 days to 6 months. I'm telling you right now, with the world the way it is today, with the dope that's out there right now, if she comes out after being in jail for 30 days and she tries dope one time, she could die. She could overdose and die. So I would say if she's willing and she wants to get better, to put her in a program. 60 to 90 days, that would be the best thing she could do. And here's another thing, you guys, I want to bring this up. So yes, I have a child. And do you know how many people tell me what a piece of shit I was because I was addicted to drugs when I was pregnant, and I gave birth when I was addicted to drugs when I gave birth to my son? Do you guys think that I wanted to be like that? Do you think that I didn't love my son? Did you think that I wanted to harm my child? Did you think that I didn't think about that every single day? You guys, this is what I'm talking about right here. This is what I'm talking about. Women are out there right now who are pregnant in active addiction, and they are scared shitless that if they tell anyone, their baby will be taken away from them. And that is why these women don't get help, because of the judgment and the stigma of the disease of addiction. These women are sick and they need help. They need resources. They need help to be able to change. The disease of addiction is selfish, self-seeking, and keeps you sick. Okay? Once the disease takes over, it hijacks the brain. This has nothing to do with being a selfish person, not loving your child. It has everything to do with your brain, the frontal lobe, all this shit gets hijacked by those substances after years and years and years of abuse of drugs, right? Opiates, crack cocaine, methamphetamine. That's what I was addicted to, shooting methamphetamine, which literally it turns your pleasure sensors on times 2 million. It's like having an orgasm times 1,000, okay? It's like having the most hardcore orgasm you've ever had. That's what it's like shooting meth, okay? And that's what you're going up against. It literally had my whole brain just hijacked. Now, here's what I would do. I wasn't selfish, and I did love my child, and I did want to get sober, right? And so I started trying to get sober, so I would quit. And I would do good for like 2 weeks, and then I would relapse, and then I would quit again because I was fighting against myself. See, a drug addict is two people. It's two people. It's like having good and evil. It's like having an evil twin. It's like having Siamese twins. It's like a person with two heads and one body. Okay, two brains but one body. Okay. Why does he lie about it, though? Does he really think we believe he's not on drugs? T-Money, you know why he lies about it? He lies about it because he feels guilty. He lies about it because he feels ashamed. He lies about it because he's embarrassed. He lies about it because he's lying to himself. He's telling himself, I got this. I'll be okay. I can get through this. It's not that big of a deal. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'll kick this later, right? Story of my life. Make it make sense. Why does he lie to our faces when he is clearly high? I'm telling you, T-Money. I'm telling you. I used to do the same thing and fall asleep, just like Tracy said, in my cereal, in a full pizza with cheese on my face, and then come up and go, I'm not high. I didn't use. It's the denial. The denial is part of the disease. Okay? It's kind of like, okay, I know this is a hard comparison to use, but I just want you guys to understand the denial. Okay? You know when a person is diagnosed with like a life-ending disease, like a disease that is critical, right? They're going to die, terminal illness. And they go through that period where they are in denial and they don't believe that they really have that disease. That's what it's like when you're in active addiction. You go through this period where you're in total denial, and you will but then eventually what comes after that process of denial becomes reality. And then what happens is, bam, you get slapped with the dick of reality, and you're like, holy shit, I'm ruining my life. I don't got a car. I'm homeless. I'm living under a bridge. I got a fucking needle hanging out of my arm. And you're just like, it's like so radical, and all of a sudden, and then your hopes go, and you become hopeless. And you think, I'll never get out of this. I'll never get sober. I'm never going to amount to anything. Why did I let myself get this bad? How could I have let myself get this bad? And you start going through all these things in your mind. My mom and dad taught me right from wrong. I went to high school. I graduated. I went to college. I had a good job. All these things start going through your mind. I cannot tell you how hard it is. It's the most craziest mind disease It's so hard. It's so hard. Yes, me and my husband got sober at the same time. Yes, you think that you can act like it's not happening, that nobody will know. Can you keep going about the two people living in one person when you have the addiction? Yeah, sure, Nathan. It's like, I can't explain it any other way than it's like multiple personalities. It's like dual personalities, okay? So there's the Nicole inside of me that you guys see right now, the caring Nicole, the loving Nicole, the Nicole that doesn't want to hurt anybody, that would literally take my shirt off my back and give it to you. And then there's my addiction, the Nicole that has the addiction, the Nicole that would steal from you, that would lie to you, that would manipulate you, that would look you right in the eyes and say, I didn't take $20 out of your wallet. I'm telling you guys, it's literally night and day, good and evil. And in my brain, there's that good Nicole, and then there's this evil Nicole. And see, when I was in my active addiction, evil Nicole had front and center. Evil Nicole, she was the one who was occupying the flesh, the body. Evil Nicole was running the show. Okay, I was getting high. I was lying to my parents. I was hiding out. I was in total denial, right? Total denial. But what would happen though throughout that evil Nicole reign, when I had the front, right? What would happen is there would be glimpses of regular me. Regular me when I would sober up for a couple days at my mom and dad's house, sleeping on the couch, right? Coming to and having steak dinner with my mom and dad and eating a potato. And that's what gives your family hope, because they see you still in there, because you are still in there. But what happens is evil has taken over, and drugs are part of the darkness. Drugs are part of the devil. And I know some of you guys might not be religious, but the only way I know how to relate it to you is good and evil, darkness and light. And so addiction is part of the darkness. And when the dark Nicole had the front and was running my body, I was doing all these horrible things, and I was hurting my family. I was hurting my husband. I was, using drugs when I was pregnant, and I was just out of control. The only way for the person that is the dark Nicole to go away is for the light Nicole to come forward and for me to stay fronting. Okay, so it's just like multiple personalities. So only what you have to do to keep light Nicole at the front is I have to be so constant on studying recovery, helping people that are struggling with addiction, talking about my addiction recovery, praying, meditating, reading things to learn about the disease of addiction. But I'm telling you, helping other people is what helps me stay at the front and not go back into the darkness, because I have to constantly practice, because that Nicole is always back here. That Nicole is always sitting on my shoulder. You guys don't understand. Something bad happens in my life. Let me give you an example. A couple weeks ago, there was two girls who were making horrible videos about me. calling me a fraud, saying all kinds of horrible things about me, saying that I was a piece of shit, talking about me, calling me real talk relapse, making fun of my husband for his struggle with his relapse, just horrible things. And evil Nicole started whispering in my ear, Nicole, you could just go out and get a couple Xanaxes and just take a couple Xanaxes and pass out, not even worry about it, and just kind of like get through this time right now, right? Or Nicole, you know you need to lose weight, and all these people, they're making fun of you because you're fat and you're ugly and you're chunky. You need to go get some meth, and then you could lose that weight, and then you could show everybody. That's what evil Nicole is doing, okay? And so I'm over here like, oh my God, like, why am I thinking these things? Why are these thoughts coming in my mind? I've been sober for 6 years. Why am I thinking about using meth to lose weight? Why am I thinking about taking Xanax to check out a life because people are bullying me? Like, I've got 6 years sober. But that's what I'm telling you. Even at 6 years sober, that part of my brain tries to come to the front. And I have to knock it back. I have to knock it back by talking about what I'm going through, by letting other people know I'm struggling, by being honest, by helping others, by praying, by studying. And it's constant, constant, constant. Because if I let up just a little bit, those thoughts try to come to the front again. No drug addict or alcoholic is ever cured of their disease. And that darkness tries to come forward when we're struggling, when we're hurting, when we're going through hard times. And that's why when I tell you guys, it's so important to learn how to cope. It's so important learn how to talk about what you're going through, because that always tries to come. When things are not going good, when you're struggling, your dark side will try to come forward. Sorry. That's what happens. It talks to you, and I'm telling you guys, when you're struggling, like I'm 6 years sober, like I say. Imagine if I had 6 months or a year sober, okay, and those thoughts came coming to the front. That's scary. That's hard. What do you do when that happens? What do you do? That's why I'm telling you guys, like, you have got to start talking about what you're going through. You have got to start, like, shining a light and like, seriously talk about things when they're in your mind. Because if you don't and you keep them a secret, what do I tell you guys? What do I tell y'all? Secrets will keep you sick. When you keep those secrets, the darkness hears them. The darkness is like, Nicole's putting secrets in her secret spot. Now what am I going to do? Mama Panda says, I just had a slip after a year and 3 months. I just got Narcan on the way to work on the bus, and I have a huge black eye. Mama Panda, thank God you're alive, girl. Thank God you're alive. What happened, girl? What happened? Snitching on our addiction. And that's what I'm telling you guys. Like, even to this day, like I said, Nathan, I still have that darkness. And I don't think people understand. Like, people here on TikTok, you guys, who are mean and ugly and disrespectful to you, you never know what someone is going through or what demons they are fighting. I will always be going toe to toe with my addiction. I was in active addiction for 15 years. I'm 39. That's longer than that's half my life. That's over half of my life. I was in active addiction. That's all I knew for 15 years. And so now everything I have to do it's like so much recovery has to be everything for me. So let me read what Mama Panda said. Stressed. Okay. It says, is it okay for a 13-year-old to smoke for anxiety? Absolutely not, Trinity. You have to put yourself first. Yep. And I have been going and going. Mama Panda, we just talked about stress earlier today, and I'm telling you 100%. If you have stress and it's job related, you need to go to your boss and say this: I need a break. I cannot work all these hours. I need a break. Because guess what? No job is more important than your sobriety. Do you understand? No job. Stop. You need to bounce back down to not a lead. Okay? My husband and I did the same damn thing. And I did exactly what you did. I relapsed because I put my job first. Baby, I know in society we are taught that we got to make money to be successful, yada, 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 right? As a person that struggles with addiction, you got to put that whole mentality to the side. Okay? You have to look at life in a different way. You're successful if you don't pick up a drink or a drug. That's where you're going to have to start gaining your success feelings from. Okay, you're going to have to start working and putting in the effort towards your recovery and helping others, and let that be your purpose and your passion. Because every time you get sober, you will do this with your job. This took me 15 years to learn. Every single time I would get sober, I would get a job, I would get promoted within 3 months, and I'd be running the whole store wherever I worked, working 60 hours a week. I'm talking fucking me in my ass. That's how many hours I'd work. These jobs don't give a fuck about you. If you relapse and die, they will just replace you. Nobody will cry at your funeral, okay, except for your family. The job don't give a fuck about you. You have got to go to your job and say, I cannot do this. This is too much for me. I need a break. You need to say, I'm asserting myself. I am going to, you have got to take control. They will fuck you and you will die. And then everybody will say, Mama Panda died. She was such a hard worker, but she couldn't figure it out that her job didn't fucking matter. It was her life that mattered. These jobs, you guys, will take advantage of you, and they don't care. Okay? They did the same thing to my husband at Kroger. They worked him till he relapsed. They fucking put so much work on him because they knew he'd take the extra hours. They knew he would come in whenever they asked him to. They knew that they could railroad him. They knew that they could manipulate him and overwork him, and he wouldn't stand up for himself. And it drove him to the edge. I literally watched it happen. And the whole time I was saying, you got to put your foot down. You got to tell them no. You got to tell them no. What it takes is getting a demotion, stepping down. Mackenzie, I know. What's wrong, baby? And when I slipped, I started drinking and doing ice in my car at break. Yep. Yes, exactly, Tracy. And if you keep fucking up, you'll lose your job anyway. Exactly. Mama Panda, I'm serious, girl. I would seriously look into just telling them that you can't be a lead. That way you don't have to worry about that extra responsibility. Like, seriously. Because just, especially, you just need it. You need to take the time off. You know what I did? I worked like 20 or 30 hours for the first 3.5 years of my sobriety. 20 or 30 hours. And my husband, he worked full time. And then I started working from home, but I work full time. And here's the thing, you guys. I work more hours today that I do working from home than I did when I was out there working at the stores, because I don't know how to shut myself off. I don't take a break. I don't stop working. You know what I mean? I don't stop doing my job. But the best thing about my job is I get to do it from my home. Nobody bosses me around. My boss trusts me. He calls me, and I tell him, I do what I do what I do. You know what I mean? I'm telling you guys, no, Mackenzie, why would I do that? Not yet. Not yet, honey. No, my child doesn't come first before my recovery, T-Money. Because without my recovery, I won't have my son. I know that. That's why I lost my son. Because I got high. And I didn't have my recovery. Today, everything goes behind my recovery. It goes recovery, then my son. Because without my sobriety, I won't have Nathaniel. And it's really important. A lot of people say, that's not right. You shouldn't say that. You should always put your son, your family first, or God first, right? You guys, I'm telling you without a shadow of a doubt, my son, y'all know how spoiled he is. See that $400 gaming system over there? See this other Nintendo Switch he got so his friends can play too? That's about $1,000 in games, okay? But anything before my recovery, I will lose it. And so I have got to stay diligent when it comes to sobriety. But of course, Nathaniel is like right there. It's like Nathaniel's right beside my recovery. But that's what enables me to be able to take care of my child is my sobriety. You know what I mean? That's what helps me so much, you guys. Yeah, if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of anybody else. But I hope you got T-Money. I hope you're still in here because I really want to help you. I know, who is it that's using in your family, if you don't mind me asking? Is it a son, a daughter, brother, sister? Because that's hard when you have somebody that you care about that's in active addiction. I'll tell y'all. When me and my husband got sober, my husband did so well. He stayed sober for 4 years straight. Excuse me. But then last year when COVID hit, he started struggling and then he relapsed, my husband's brother. Okay. It's hard when it's like you're, a brother or brother-in-law, whatever, because you literally see them sucking the life out of your parents. And that's what happened with me and my sister. I got sober. Hey, for you. I was just going on a whole freaking tangent rant. It was kind of like a good rant, though. But we were talking about the duality. We're talking about how drug addicts have two people inside of us. It's like good and bad, evil and good, and dark and light. And so we're talking about that. We're talking about how, a lot of people don't understand the disease of addiction, and it can seem like a person who is struggling really is just doing it all on purpose, right? And I can even see, listen, I understand my sister's an addict and my husband's an addict, okay? So I totally get it. When my husband relapsed, you guys, I was pissed. I wanted to punch him in the face. I was so mad, okay? He came home, and I'll never forget his fucking googly ass eyes. One eyeball going this way, one eyeball going that way. And I just wanted to punch him in the face because I was so angry. How could you do this? What were you thinking? We're going to lose everything. I thought you loved me. I thought you loved Nathaniel. You don't care about us. No, we don't matter. All these things, right? Started going through my mind, and I'm spewing all these things back to him, trying to get it through his head, like, what is wrong? What is wrong? And then all of a sudden it hit me like a ton of bricks. Oh my God. I know what's wrong. He has the disease of addiction. This isn't even my husband. This is a different person standing in front of me. This is a person that I don't even know, this person who is telling me, I don't know if I want to be sober. What if I don't want to be here anymore? What if I want to leave? All these things, I couldn't even believe it was coming out of his mouth. I was like, this is Satan. This is Satan, right? And so I sat there and I prayed. I prayed about it. And I thought, for about 6 months, you guys, I enabled my husband. What do I mean by that? I mean, I called into his job. I took his truck away, took his car keys, took his credit cards. Like, I kept saving him from hitting rock bottom. Kept intercepting his demise. And after 6 months of doing that, I realized I'm enabling him. And then all of a sudden I pulled the rug out from underneath him and I just stopped. I put my hands up and I said, I'm giving it to you, God. I cannot take this anymore. I'm losing my mind. I can't do this. I'm going to relapse. I'm going to lose everything. And that's what matters, is me. I come first. And so I pulled out. I said, you're on your own, buddy. I'm here for you when you're ready. I'll help you get treatment when you want to get sober, but I'm not stopping you. Go ahead, drive your car, be gone. Literally 2 days later, he got fired from his job. That's all it took. All it took was me backing the fuck up and letting him hit rock bottom. That's all it took. That's all it took. I kept intercepting it. I kept saving him from crashing and burning. I kept intercepting him. And I literally stopped all the stress I had been causing myself for 6 months. All the chaos. Bam! And then he said, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm so sorry. He's crying, asking for me to forgive him. Of course, you guys know me. I forgave him. And just so you guys know, during this whole process, I made sure that my son was protected. I made sure he didn't see his daddy looking like that. One thing that about Neil is that he's super secretive. And so when he would use, he would do it when he was at work in the evening. And then he would come home and Nathaniel would already be asleep. And so, you know, I made sure to make sure that my child was my number one priority and I protected him. But that's all it took, T-Money, was for me to just back up and stop saving him from himself. And so if your family members are saving your brother-in-law from himself, they are fucking themselves. Okay? They are helping him to continue his addiction. If they would just stop, let go, and let him crash and burn, no matter how bad it is. Okay? Believe me, I was scared to death. The reason why I kept intercepting my husband is because I didn't want him to kill somebody on the road when he was driving, or himself. And that's what was my biggest fear, was that he was going to kill himself or somebody else on the road, or he was going to go to our joint bank account and drain it and put us, you know, in the poorhouse. And that was, but I had to stop. I had to, if that was going to happen, I had to let it happen. And so I just let go. It's the best thing I ever did. Best thing I ever did. Yeah. And it's because his father is just as sick as he is. They are sick together. It is a codependency. So if his father was to stop, then his father wouldn't have anything to do. He wouldn't have anything to control, to fix, manage, and control. So he's just as sick as the son is. I know it's hard, Bianca. Believe me. Do you know what it was like for me to say, that's it? Here's your car keys. Go kill somebody and yourself. Like, literally, that's what I felt like was happening. I felt like I was giving him his death trap. And the minute he drove out of the driveway, I was praying to God, please keep your hand of protection over Neil. Please guide him on his way to work. And let me just tell you, those 2 days were shit shows. The first day he went to work, he lost his keys. I had to go up to his job because he was so barred out on Xanax that he lost his own car keys somewhere in the store. We couldn't find them for the 2 days. Okay, so all kinds of a shit show. Then the next day, I had to pick him up from work that night, drive him to another store. Then the next morning, still couldn't find his keys, so I had to drive him into work. Halfway through that day, they found his keys. I had to go there and get his keys, bring him to them, right? Pick him up, get his car, drive him back over there, follow him over there, yada, 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 right? All these crazy shit's happening. He's losing keys. He's fucking dropping shit at work, busting can, all kinds of stuff at Kroger, all kinds of stuff. But that's what had to happen. It was the best thing that could have ever happened, you guys. And I'm so grateful because now I have my husband back. And my husband's sober. And he's happy. And he's doing well. You know what I mean? I'm so proud of him. I'm so freaking proud of him. And it feels good to have my husband back. You know? Feels really, really good. He's a good person. He loves me and he loves my son, our son, so much. So, back to the duality of addiction in our brains. And so, like I was saying, hearing my husband say all these things that I knew he didn't mean, it was like hearing, like I said, the devil speaking for him. I was afraid if I let go, he would think I didn't care about him. Did you feel that way too? No, Bianca, no, because the addict knows that you care, okay? The addict knows. And if you have an addict who's manipulating you and saying things like, you don't love me, if you really cared, that's all manipulation, okay? That's all addiction manipulation. I knew my husband would know without a shadow of a doubt that I care about him. But what I had to do was care more about myself, because I was putting him before myself and my son, and it was going to be my demise. My husband was the manager of a Kroger. So he's talking to me during his relapse, and he's telling me, like, I don't know if I want to be sober. I don't know if I want to be with you. I don't know if I want to live together anymore. I think I might want to move out. All these things, right? All these things, because all these things would serve him to be able to use drugs still. Okay? My mom did this. Anytime I tried to cut her off, she told me I was abandoning her. Exactly, baby duck. That is a way to guilt trip you. That is a manipulation. Okay? If you have an addict who does that, you need to cut them off out of your life. You need to push them and let them go do their own thing and let them hit rock bottom, because I was never that kind of addict. Okay, like, my parents put me out, and it is what it was. Like, I made my bed, I had to lie in it. My husband isn't like that either. Like, he knows that I love him and that I care about him, but there's some people who use that kind of like manipulation against their loved ones. And when it comes to, if you're their source, right? If you're somebody who is giving them money and giving them a place to stay, of course they're going to try and manipulate you. Okay? My parents never gave me a place to stay. They never would give me money. So it wouldn't even benefit me if I did want to guilt trip them, because they wasn't going to give me shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's why. That if your addict is doing that to you, it's because they don't want to lose you, because they're afraid they're going to lose their gravy train. I know, and listen to me. Like I said, it's a sickness. It's a mental illness when somebody is like this. It really, truly is. I want you guys to think about 10, 20 years of hardcore drug addiction, where the brain is getting so much stimuli, right? This drug is going straight to the brain. The receptors are just pouring out dopamine, pouring out serotonin, okay? I just want you to imagine the pleasure of the feelings of the way drugs makes a person feel. That alters the brain forever, okay? Like, I'm still trying to heal my brain from fucking 15 years of drug addiction. I'm still trying to get my energy levels back. I'm still trying to get motivation. I'm still trying to feel like a normal human being and not like a walking puddle of mud, because that's what I feel like. I feel like I'm not put together. I feel like this arm is where my leg's supposed to be and this leg is where my arm's supposed to be, and I'm all out of whack. It's so difficult, you guys. So I don't think people understand, like, that's hardcore. That is altering the brain chemistry. You know, it fucks up your brain. That's great, Darius. At least she went to rehab. That's very good. Yes, so Tracy, and am I right in saying this, Tracy? Your husband was serving you, wasn't he? He was enabling you, or keeping you. He had something that you wanted, and so you wanted to keep him around. You know what I mean? My husband and I now put our feet down and stopped enabling, and he guilts us, threatens us with his death. Well. Oh, I hate when people do that. I hate, that makes me mad that he's doing that to you. That is the selfishness. That is the sickness of the disease of addiction. That is the insecurity and the low self-esteem and the not loving himself. All the things that he's saying to you, he means about himself, okay? All the things that he's trying to push on you and your husband is what he needs to look in the mirror and say to himself. So, I want you guys who have loved ones that are addicted. I know it's hard. I know it's hard, you guys, to have empathy for people when they're doing this to you. I want you guys to try and understand that it's not that person. It's like they're possessed. That's exactly what it is. It's like they're possessed by a demon. That is what addiction is like. It's like having an entity come into your body and overtake you. And then that entity is at the front of you, right? And it's running everything. I'm telling you guys, it's like being possessed. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That's what they talk about in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, okay? They talk to you about how drugs and alcohol, they take you over and turn you into a real Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. For everyone in here, what was the one thing that got you to get sober or attempt to get help? So for me, everybody drop your, what was the thing that made you want to get sober? For me, what made me want to get sober was losing custody of my son. That woke me up. Like that I cared about. See, my son, I cared about my son, and he was my first everything. I'd never had a child. And so that changed my life. That's what made me want to get sober. Does your brother-in-law have any kids? Does he have a wife? Does he have anything that that's important to him that he could lose, that could affect him? You know? And if he doesn't, because that's a lot of times that's what it is. A lot of the times that a drug addict has lost everything, including their families and their kids. If they are that way, then eventually, hopefully, they'll get to a point where I've never had to. My son never got the chance. Oh man, an ultimatum from my hubs. He finally put his foot down after being revived from an OD. All my brothers has me, and I have cerebral palsy with his longtime girlfriend that was a user. So they have a kid together. Wow. Did they have the kid custody? My son, when my neighbor who we enabled each other passed away, going through constant withdrawal from not being able to find opiates as often as I needed them. Yep, that will make you do it. When I had so many drinks and half a bottle of Dramamine to prevent hangover, ended up almost dead. Oh, Jake, that's hardcore. T-Money, that's good. I was sick of being in prison, and if I did, I would lose my daughter for good. Persan, good job, girl. Lost respect of my almost grown son. That will do it. My mom's was an intervention. Only worked for 3 months. Oh, baby, I'm sorry. T-Money, I'm glad that she was able to separate herself. You know what I'm saying? So here's the thing. I want to tell you something, T-Money. In the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, they talk about people who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. They are such unfortunates. They seem to have been born that way. Okay? They cannot grasp a way of living that requires rigorous honesty. So basically, they never recover. They go into they just stay lying and manipulating, and they just can't get honest. They can't let go. I'll tell you a story about a friend of mine who's like this. So when I was growing up and I went to high school, I had this friend named Matt. He's a sweet, sweet guy, but his mom's an alcoholic, his dad's an alcoholic, his brother's an alcoholic. Like, he comes from a long line of alcoholics. Well, ever since we were kids old enough to drink, guess what? He was drinking. And I'm not talking about just drinking beer and partying. I'm talking about this kid, by the time we were 21, was drinking pints of vodka. Okay? Straight out of the refrigerator. And so what happened was very quickly he became an alcoholic, a hardcore alcoholic. And he had one driving under the influence, two driving under the influences, three driving under the influences, four driving under the influences, and went to prison. Came out of prison, another driving under the influence. I mean, this kid will never have a license again. Never. And he's still drinking to this very day. When I tell you he drinks so much that he has bruises on his back where his liver is at. It is so bad that, do you know the lady that's here on TikTok that has the big giant belly that looks like she's 9 months pregnant from her liver failing or whatever? That's what he looks like from drinking so much alcohol. He will never stop. I've done everything. He's gone to AA and different programs, everything. He is constitutionally incapable of being honest with himself. He won't even say that he's an alcoholic. Still, to this day. He's my age. He's 39. He's 39. And he will die an alcoholic. He will die. No, he's not related to me. But it's super duper sad, you guys, because watching him like that, we grew up together. We partied together. We did all kinds of stuff together. I mean, we used to date. We used to hook up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know the guy. Like, we have been friends since kindergarten. We went to school together. You know what I mean? And he won't even go to rehab. I've offered to get him into treatment for free. Okay? And he sees nothing. He doesn't see it. Either he doesn't see it or he's lost all hope. And that's something that happens to the addict. When somebody gets to a point where they feel like there's a point of no return, they start, hey, Amanda, thank you. They start to lose hope. They start to lose any idea that they can ever change. And once a person gets to that point, it's like a point of no return where they feel like there's no way out. So they give up. And when you have somebody who's hopeless, they give up on themselves, it's like they're just on a mission to die. And it's the saddest thing to watch, man. There was a point in my addiction where I was the same way. Before I lost custody of my son, when I relapsed after giving birth to him, I thought, this is it. I'm going to die. I have abandoned my son. I have failed at life. I might as well just kill myself. I might as well just die. Then what happened was I came home, got some sleep, seen my baby's face, and realized what a dumbass bitch I was being, and said, bitch, you better get your fucking life together. And so I started trying to get sober. But I would relapse, and then I would get sober, then I would relapse. Then I had that fight with my girlfriend, Tara, and she called CPS on me. Honestly, you guys, even though she did it on purpose to hurt me, best thing that ever happened to me. Even though CPS didn't do a damn thing for me, what they did do for me was take my son and light a fire under my ass to want to change. Because if it wasn't for them taking Nathaniel, and I hate that it even had to happen that way, but I had to have something serious happen. Because I had gotten to the point of no return. I had given up hope. I had given up on myself. I had no hope. I didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I didn't think that I could ever return. You know, I didn't think that I could ever get better. I thought I was a lost cause, you know? And when you have two lost causes together, me and my husband, it's hard. Because what would happen is one of us would get better, the other one would try to get on track with the other one, and we would both get sober together, and then guess what would happen? We would enable each other. We would enable each other into relapsing. And that's why it kept just going back and forth, back and forth. But now that we're sober, man, I'm telling you what, you guys, I'm being straight up with you guys. I will never go back. I don't want to lose my son ever again. And I never want to put my little boy through that. I never want him to be afraid. The only thing I can think about is My son, at 1 year old, when I took him and handed him to a complete stranger. And I can't think about how he probably woke up that night and had no idea where he was. And he probably couldn't smell me. He couldn't hear my voice, nothing. And he was probably scared to death. And that is on me. That is on me for the rest of my life. I will never forget that. I will never live that down. And every time my son gets worried that I'm not going to pick him up from school, I blame myself for him feeling that anxiety, because I had to give him over to a complete stranger at 1 year old. My son had to sleep in a respite home with 15 other babies because they had nowhere for him to go when they took him away from me. They had no family to put him with, no foster care family. So my child had to go into a respite home. Okay? I will never, ever, ever, ever put my baby in a situation like that ever again. Ever again. When I saw my son for the first time after 5 days of him being away from me, he had this rash all over his body, these little red bumps with scabs all over his body. And I said, "What happened to my son? What's going on? Something's wrong. He's sick." He had gotten hand, foot, and mouth disease from being in a respite home with 15 other kids, because CPS had nowhere to put him. No room, no foster family to take him. It took him 2 weeks to find a foster family for my son to go to. And so I will never, ever, 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 ever forget that, because I never want my son to go into that same spot. I never want him to be away from me again. That's why, you guys, when people on this app joke around about calling CPS, or they say things like, "Oh, I don't like Nicole, I'm calling CPS on her," that's not a joke. That's not something you joke about. Do you know how dangerous that is? Do you know how many kids go into the system and get fucking, they get hurt, they get abused? It is very traumatizing, Candace. Very traumatizing. For my son and for me. I have PTSD from dealing with CPS. Like, no joke. No joke. I'm not being dramatic, okay? I'm not being dramatic. I want you guys to imagine them taking a hair follicle test and then them sending me. Sorry, I'm picking the bottom of my feet, just so y'all know. They sent me to get a hair follicle test, got that, passed it. Then they sent me to do my psychological evaluation, okay? I do my psychological evaluation. It's like a 2-hour thing, test thing, and then it comes back, and they're still trying to accuse me of being mentally unfit. So they make me go take another one. And so they're trying to like make me believe that I'm unfit to take care of my child, that I'm not mentally stable enough to take care of my kid. And I'm looking around in these parenting classes they have us in, and when I tell you guys there was parents in there, I'm not making fun of them, that were mentally developmentally delayed. The parents. Okay, I'm talking special needs parents who had babies, okay, and their kids were still in their custody. And I'm looking around going, and they're giving me a hard time about being mentally stable? Like, what is really going on here? I honestly think that CPS wanted to keep my kid or something. You know what I mean? It was really scary, you guys. But that's what I'm saying, like, it is traumatizing dealing with CPS. It's nothing pretty. It's not fun. It's not like a good feeling at all. And I just happen to be really fortunate, you guys. Oh, I know you're Caitlin. No, girl. You know, it would be different if I had said, you know, the R word or something like that. But when I'm telling you this, I mean special needs to the point where these parents could barely take care of themselves. I'll tell you what happened, okay? After I graduated out of CPS and I got my son back, they asked me to come back and be a parent partner, okay? And this is where I met people that had developmentally delayed to the point where they couldn't take care of themselves, Caitlin. This is not you're not like this. And there's nothing wrong with being like this, okay? But this is serious. Listen to me, okay? And so they asked me to be a parent partner, which that just tells you something. When I went through the system, I did everything to the T, you guys. I passed every drug test and everything. So CPS wanted me to work for them. And so I went back and they partnered me with a young lady who was developmentally delayed, okay? And they lived all the way out in like a really small town in Arkansas. Okay, she lived with her grandparents, her brother, like an uncle, and something else. Well, she had gotten raped. I don't know if it was by the uncle or someone else, but I had a sneaking suspicion that it was the uncle. And she ended up getting pregnant and having a baby. The little baby was born. It had to have a shunt. It had to have one of those things where it breathes out of this and then a tube out of its stomach, a G tube or something like that. It was really hard. It was really, really, really hard for this little baby. The little baby was just, it was sad. But the mother, you guys, the mother couldn't even speak English properly. And I don't mean because she was from Mexico. She was Arkansan. She couldn't talk because that's how delayed she was in her speech. Okay, she couldn't work a job. Okay, and they had this girl in parenting classes with me, and I was trying to help her to get her child back. But to me, I was like, there's no way that this young lady, being as delayed as she can take care of this little baby with all these needs. I mean, serious, serious defects. Like I said, the shunt, the thing, and the tube coming out of the stomach. Bad, you guys. Bad. And I was just like, there's no way that she was a good person. She was a sweetheart. But she was so disabled and so delayed. And the reason why was because she lived out there in bumfuck Arkansas. She didn't get to go to school. It was like an incest kind of family situation. Somebody raped her. She had a baby, and it was horrible. That's why the baby came out with all those birth defects. And so when I say that, I'm not talking about just having like a speech problem or being a little slow when it comes to school and stuff. I'm talking about full on not able to care for their own child. And it was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking because CPS was actually giving her the idea that she would be able to get her baby back. And I was like, fuck this shit, dude. I can't do this. I'm out of here. I can't do this. This is wrong what y'all are doing to her. Y'all are giving her false hope because there was no way on God, you guys, that this young lady could take care of this little baby with all these needs. It was so sad. It was devastating. I cried leaving there. I walked out and I never came back. What do you mean who was verbally abusing, Caitlin? Somebody was doing that to you? Who was taking care of you, Caitlin? Or do you have a caretaker? Jamie, yes, I had a bad experience with CPS because the attorney ad litem was a psychopath. Okay, so everything else was fine. The judges were great. My caseworker was good. I will tell you this. I had to call my caseworker and remind her to drug test me. When me and my husband would go up to CPS to have them drug test us, they would have us wait like 45 minutes because nobody would come up and drug test us. It was literally pathetic. But the attorney ad litem for our case, the attorney that represented my son, was trying so hard to have me deemed unfit and to keep Nate away from me. And I never, like I said, I never failed a drug test. I never had any issues, you guys, any issues. I went through my whole case skating on ice. That's how I did everything they asked me to do to a T. To a T. Okay? Everything. But that attorney ad litem was gunning for me from the beginning. And let me tell you why. So what y'all don't know about my family is that my husband has a sister, an older sister. And his older sister hates him. She has a resentment towards her brother because she feels like my mother and father-in-law have always showed Neil favoritism. Okay? Mine was through, well, they got called on me for my addiction, so no, it was through the courts because my son got taken out of the house. So they have a resentment. She has a resentment towards my husband. They don't talk still to this day. Well, she goes and talks to the attorney ad litem. See, she was a foster parent at the time, and she had 2 little boys. Because, see, when me and Neil gave birth to our son, guess what she did? She only had 3 girls. So she went out and adopted 2 sons after Nathaniel was born. Literally, like 4 months after he was born. And so she goes and does that. She goes and talks to the attorney ad litem about me and my husband. We don't know what she said, nothing. But then the next thing we know, they're asking us if we want our son to go with her. And I said, hell no. I'd rather my husband go with my son go with a complete stranger than go with her. You know why? Because I know exactly what she would have done. She would have kept him from me. Yeah, well, they acted like it wasn't even a big deal. She was a foster parent. She was literally just about to adopt the 2 boys she had in March. Our son got taken away in July. She went and talked to our attorney ad litem about me and my husband. And they tried to keep my son from me. Yeah, well, she don't like me either, I'm sure, but it's her and my husband both have a bad relationship too. But when they came to me and they said, you want your son to go with Angie? I was like, no, absolutely not. Because what would happen is me and my husband, we would work so hard and she would probably have kept him from us. And so from that day forward, when we denied her access to our son, from that day forward, that attorney was gunning for me and my husband. She did everything she could to try and make it extra hard on us for us to get our son back. The last day, hey, Georgia on my mind, the last day when they were supposed to give us custody of our son back, like our case was getting closed, that attorney ad litem goes up and says that we're not in recovery because we're on medication-assisted treatment because we were on Suboxone, and that we needed to get off of it before they could grant us custody back. And when I tell you, I had the nurse went up there, my counselor went up there, my doctor went up there, I went up there, we all went up there. And that judge said, they have done the damn thing. Shh. Case closed. Take your boy home. And Nate ran and jumped in my arms. Ah! And I was like, fuck you, bitch. You know what I mean? Because she was horrible, you guys. She was horrible. My mom has even... It's hard, you guys. And these attorney ad litems and stuff, they don't tell you what's going on. They lie to you. My case was only open for 1 year. It was from July, and well, it's actually less than a year. July 2015, I think, and then in March 2016, my case got closed. Maybe it was a little bit after that. Maybe it was May. It was almost exactly a year. Almost exactly a year. And like I said, when I tell you guys, I did everything they asked me to do. Everything and more. I worked my ass off. I fought for my son. I fought for my son so hard. Because you guys, listen, like I was telling y'all early at the beginning of this live, I've always been a good person. Like, I've got a good heart. You know what I mean? I care about people. I love helping people. It's literally my life. I love it. Even before I got on drugs, I loved helping people. And so when Nathaniel got taken away from me, it was the hardest thing I've ever been through in my whole entire life. You know? But I wasn't a bad person. I was sick, and I really, really needed help, you guys. And so I am grateful because I was able to get help. Now, did CPS get me the help? No. I got my own rehab. I paid for my own treatment. They didn't do a damn thing. And that's what the thing was. You know, when they took my son away, they're like, we'll help you get into treatment. You can go to a treatment center where they have you and baby. And I was like, okay, you know, I can do that. I can do that. Lies, 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 lies. They did nothing. They did nothing for me, okay? They didn't help me find treatment. They didn't help me get into therapy. They didn't help me with transportation. They didn't help me with childcare. Nothing. Nothing. I worked my ass off. I did it all by myself. All of it. And what they say is, oh, we want reunification. We'll help you. They don't help you with shit, y'all. And here's the thing. If you're somebody who don't have your head on straight and you can't fight for yourself, you'll never get your kid back. You'll never get your kid back. That's how fucking backwards CPS is. Hey, Brianna, I'm so sorry. Yes, Judy, listen to this, you guys. So y'all know the girl that called CPS on me, she's an active addict. She's like still in active addiction to this day. So she calls, I'm going to have some, oh, I know what I want. I'm going to have some graham crackers. She's in active addiction. And so when I tell you she's in active addiction so bad that she's like called the cops on herself before and like hallucinates that her daughter is having sex with a man underneath the bed and accuses her daughter of doing it. Her daughter who's 13 years old. Okay, so when she called CPS on me, I always knew that one day her time would come. I wasn't going to call them on her, but I knew it would come. Guess what happened? About 3 months ago, she calls me crying her eyes out and tells me that CPS came and took her kid. I was like, well, what happened? Because she had already called the cops on herself several times. I couldn't believe it didn't happen then. Well, she had called the cops because she woke up and her friend, she had a boy over at her house who was 15. She was being his foster mom. She would lie to me and tell me that the state of Arkansas let her be a foster mom. Methed out. So somehow she had this 15-year-old kid at her house. And she woke up. And he had taken her car. And she called 911. When the police came. When they got there, the kid was already back. And told the cops that she was like beating him or some shit. So they took her and put her in the psych ward. And took her daughter. Guess what they did? They opened a case on her. And for the next 4 weeks, they randomly drug test her. She passed them for just 4 weeks. And they closed her fucking case. When I tell you guys this girl lives in literal disgustingness, food everywhere, whole apartment is just strewn to pieces, skeezed out on meth, hallucinating, and they give her a kid back. Can you believe that? I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. Because she called me and she's like, the girl who called CPS on me, Prissy. That's it, Andrea. Yep. And now she's back at it again. Called me just like a week ago, hallucinating. I always tell her she can drop her daughter off here, but I'm not going to get her. All right, she can't come hang out. Hey, Candy. Following ya. You guys, that's my best friend from high school. RC Coffee Shop. That's my best friend from high school, Candy Garcia. Oh, I'm not, look at me, guys. I didn't call CPS on her. I don't call CPS on folks. I had to do a hair follicle test and everything, Gabby. I know, girl. Don't ask me. But you know what? I'll never get the truth out of her because she could be lying about it. Brenda, I'm proud of you. Ah, Micah, don't get jealous. This is the Candy that I always tell y'all the story about, who we got our own trailer. Her mom had this really nice trailer, and we rented it out by Magic Springs. So Prissy says, well, if she done it to you, then why not do it to her? You know why, Prissy? Because 2 wrongs don't make a right. And because honestly, that baby girl would be in more danger with CPS than she would be with her mama. Her mama loves her. She's just sick. And she needs help. But I can't make her get help. So the right time will come. Karma. I stay out of people's business, you guys. That's not my business. I don't go over there. But anyway, me and Candy move into this trailer, right? Huh. Candy had so much stuff in that trailer. Her room was all decorated. Mine looked terrible. But I was leaving in and out, getting high and taking Xanaxes and all this stuff, right? It was horrible. Prissy, have you ever had your child taken by CPS, girl? Have you ever? After you got your kid taken from CPS, then come back in here and talk to us about it. Okay? Until you've been, if you work for the system, girl, you don't even know. Okay? CPS is a shit show. When I tell you, I had to fucking literally remind them to come to my house and drug test me. I walked that line so straight that they would know what to do. It's a shit show. They're overwhelmed. They don't have enough people working there. They don't have enough people that actually care about the well-being of children. They don't care. They're doing the bare minimum, okay, for their job. The bare minimum. Those people don't want to be there. They don't want to help nobody. They're miserable in their jobs. It's like working for the revenue office. They hate it so much, y'all. They hate it so much. And so in that situation, you got people coming in and stealing people's kids. They don't care. I will tell you this. For the 30 days that her daughter got taken away, guess what happened to her? They sent her to this horrible place with this lady out off Protho Junction in North Little Rock. This lady had like 7 kids in the house already and wouldn't feed Gianna. Wouldn't give her no food. So, and that is what Gianna told me, Tara's daughter. So, please understand that CPS is a joke, okay? I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. And like I said, just because she done that to me, that's not how you live life. Just because somebody does something to hurt you doesn't mean you turn back and retaliate. That's not what recovery is about, okay? I forgive her. I forgive her. I don't hold no grudge in my heart to her. I want her to get better, but I can't make her get better. The only thing I can do is pray for her. The only thing I can do is when she calls me, encourage her to get help and reach out for treatment, and I'll help her find it. I've offered all of it. But I don't go out of my way because somebody did something to me to do it back to them. That's not how I live my life. No. And like I said, you know how I would feel? It would hurt my heart if something bad happened to her daughter and I did that and I called them on her. You know what I'm saying? She's been alive this long. She's living with her mama this long. She's obviously okay. And if I thought something was really bad, I would go over there and get her. So, Just because somebody's using drugs doesn't mean they're neglecting their child, honey. It means they're sick and they're addicted. I know a lot of parents, I know a lot of moms in wine culture who drink wine every single night and smoke marijuana, and nobody says that they're bad parents. Just because somebody uses drugs doesn't mean they're not taking care of their kids. And I've learned that because of TikTok and wine culture. You see it with all these moms. They're canna moms. Canna moms.
Shut up.
Hey, don't talk to me like that.
You know you suck.
What are you playing?
Fortnite.
Fortnite? You're addicted to Fortnite.
Yes.
What is that?
It's that phone. It's steady. So I plugged it in. What's wrong with that?
So, anyways, like I said, 2 wrongs don't make a right. I don't call CPS on somebody because they called them on me. I don't do that. I hope y'all don't do that either. And until you've been in that situation, you can't ever know what you'll do either. Everybody's trying to make it, you know? Thank you, Micah. And that's the thing, like, I could be so mad and I could hate on her and I could be angry and I could hold a grudge, right? I could hold a grudge against her for doing that to me. And I'm telling you guys, I can sit here and say to you in your face confidently, when I was using drugs, my mother and father-in-law lived here. Me, my husband, my mother-in-law, and my father-in-law lived here. My son was never not taken care of. He was never alone. He was never not with his Gigi or grandpa or my dad or me. You know, what my friend did to me was call them out of spite. My son was never in danger or in harm's way. He was well taken care of, meeting all his milestones, fully dressed, very clean, doing very well. And my friend called them because she got mad at me because she owed me money. And I went and collected it from her boyfriend, a cop. So, yeah, I don't do things like that to people. I don't try to hurt and harm other people. And, yeah. And also, I don't like when people say, oh, so are you okay with, like, children being neglected? No, what I'm okay with is minding my own damn business. And so I'm not going to go over there and peep in her windows to try and find out what's going on. It's not my business. I mind my business and take care of my child and take care of my home. You know, a lot of people on TikTok, they try to throw that kind of stuff out there. No, it's called minding your own fucking business. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's kind of like being a Karen and calling the cops on everybody. Or like going around and like it's like just mind your business. So, anyway, I'm thankful though. I'm thankful that my son and me are back reunited. I'm glad that I'm his mom today and that he's here with me and I'm sober, my husband's sober, and we're all doing well and we're thriving. You know what I'm saying? I was brought up like this, you guys. I take care of me and mine, okay? I don't go out of my way to put my this is what people do here on the internet. They watch 30 to 60 seconds of a video. They don't know you from Adam, and then they're dialing 911 on your ass. Right? Exactly. I'm not a mandated reporter. I don't work for no government. And so that's what people do. And those are the people who are exhausting the system. Calling CPS on each other on fucking, on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Coming into a video that you have no idea what everybody's talking about and just assuming that you know. You know what I mean? Like, people do this so much. You have no idea. I saw a lady... Ashley says, I'm really glad you brought this up today. I'm dealing with CPS right now, so I needed to hear this. Ashley, I'm going to tell you right now, do everything they tell you to do. Just do it, okay? Get it over with and just do it. I know it sucks, And I know it's hard, but just do it. I hope that your child is with a family member or a good home. I was very fortunate that my child got to be with a family member. Okay? Why did I say family member? I was very fortunate that Nate got to be with a good family. Excuse me. I was so fortunate, you guys, because I was so afraid because I didn't want him to go to my sister-in-law. Like I said, she does not like me. She doesn't like my husband. They don't even talk. And so if he had gone with her, it would have been bad. Okay, good, Ashley. So Ashley, can I ask you a question? So your parents got your daughter or son because they got your kid. Do you feel like that made you not get busy and slowed you down to getting help? Because this is what I believe. I believe a lot of people who get their kids taken and then their kids go to their parents, what it does is it enables the addict to continue in their addiction. And what they do is they say to themselves, well, it's okay. You know, she's with mom and dad. It'll be fine. I can get back on track tomorrow. And they keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. Do you feel like that's what happened with you or no? Because it makes it easier, you know what I mean? To say, okay, well, at least they're with my parents. I can always see them, you know? Yes, I got worse on drugs. I felt like she was safe with them. Yes! Yes! Hey, oldest field, 24 hours off Oxy. I'm so over the physical side of things. Oh, man, I'm so sorry. You can do this just a little bit longer. You got like 2 more days and you'll be out of it. That's what I believe, too, because when Nathaniel got taken away, I tried to get him to go with my mother and father-in-law, but they couldn't take him because they were too old, and my parents were in New York. Right, Ashley. Ashley, you got to listen to me. You have got to totally get on track right now, okay? So, did you go and call your caseworker and let her know that you're ready to start fighting and complying? Really, Darius? They won't let you have your grandbaby? That's crazy that they won't let you have her because you're in recovery. See what I'm saying, you guys? Like, it shouldn't matter. It should matter, like, where the baby would be in the best interest of the baby. You know what I mean? Are you going to be able to get your baby back, Ashley, or no? Did they give temporary custody to your family? Oh, I'm so sorry. Now CPS won't offer me any resources since she's safe with them. Ashley, you can't count on them for nothing, girl. Okay, what you got to do, what are you doing? Are you sober now? Are you sober? Do you have your own place to live? Do you have a job? Great, Ashley. That's amazing. Okay, so you're 3.5 months sober, okay? What about the job and a place to live? Oh, yeah, it's hard, oldest. It's hard. But I'll tell you this, okay? When you got kids, it makes you push even harder. I just started working, and yes, I have my own place. That's great. Okay, well, then all you got to do is, can't you just go petition the court and let them know that you're in recovery and that you want to start working towards getting your child back, or they don't even want to give you a chance? What do your parents say? Are they proud of you for getting sober? Do they let you come visit? Now, I'll tell you all this. I do have a friend here on TikTok. She's a foster mom, and she's the shit. Like, she is such a good person, and she's in recovery. Really, Ashley? I'm so sorry, babe. So, what does CPS say? Are they going to let you fight? Or are they going to let you do it? Do you see this, guys? This kind of stuff happens. They don't want to give her back and try to adopt her. The judge said no. Well, good. So the judge said they couldn't adopt her? Good. Okay. Then, Ashley, all you have to do is remain sober. Okay? Are they giving you drug tests so you can show them that you're sober? The courts? Is the caseworker coming by and seeing your house? Are you working towards getting a room decorated for your daughter and or son and getting all that stuff together? Oh, it's her. That's what I would be doing. If the judge said she's not going to give them custody, then I would be doing everything to get that room together and everything. Oh, you're fighting for your son that you had in prison, Candace? So your husband has him? Will he not let you see your son? You guys, do you see this? This makes me so sad. What happens if CPS tries to prolong a case when you've completed all they asked for and it's been over a year? That girl, Mercedes, then what you would do, you would go talk to your lawyer, and you would have your lawyer talk to the judge. I like rubbing my lips together, Caitlin, because they're soft with that lip gloss. You have to talk to your lawyer and have your lawyer talk to the judge. I wasted a lot of time. Really, Crystal? It's okay, Brenda. See what I'm saying, you guys? Like, false calls to CPS all the time. All the time people do this. I watched this one girl. You guys got to find her on YouTube. She's trying to give us... Yes, you got to talk to your lawyer and talk to them. There's got to be something that they can do to, like, motion the courts or something. Candace, are you going through the courts? So there's this girl here on TikTok or on YouTube, okay? I've got to find the YouTube name. Mercedes, will you DM me? I'll find her on, or let me look up right here. Hold on. I got my phone over here, my other phone here. So I'll look it up. When I tell you guys, this girl lived in Texas. She worked for CPS. Worked there. Guess what they did? She worked for CPS and somebody made in a false call and said that she was beating her daughter in Walmart. So CPS comes and knocks on her door. She works for them. Okay? She works for them. And tells her that they're there because they want to see her 3-year-old male or 3-year-old son. She doesn't have a son. She has a daughter. And she's not 3 years old. And so she says, no, you can't come in. And her dad's a lawyer. And she gets her dad. And her dad's like, no, you have to have a warrant. You can't come in here. And she's like, what the fuck is CPS coming? I work for them. They tried to bulldog her. You guys, they tried to basically run her over. Okay? Saying that she was in Walmart. And she goes, well, if I was in Walmart beating my child, bring the tapes. They couldn't produce any evidence, no tapes, nothing. Because she wasn't at Walmart. She didn't even have a 3-year-old. It was all beyond me. I couldn't believe how the state of Texas tried to railroad her. And these Texas CPS people kept on, like, basically trying to scare her into letting them see her child. And that's the thing. She was like, I don't have to let you see my child. You don't even know whether my child is a boy or a girl or anything. Like, I don't have to let you in. Really, Stacy? See what I'm saying, you guys? This is why I don't mess around with this kind of stuff. When people ask me, why don't you do that back to the person that did it to you? Because it's horrible. Any person who has ever dealt with CPS knows what I'm talking about. Hey, Darius Mama, you're welcome. Damn, Crystal, that sucks. But do you see what I'm saying? Like, and it's because, you guys, they give these people power. And then these people get, like, power hungry. They want to come in your house and, like, take your kids from you. You know what I mean? That's horrible. That's why I'll never, ever, if anybody came to my door, I wouldn't open the door to them. I'd lawyer up right away. Let me find this girl with CPS. I'm telling you guys. I'm telling you guys. Because she has their calls recorded between her and the caseworker. It was crazy. Damn it. I'm not going to be able to find it. Watch. I guess. And if you guys go on YouTube, you can watch. Oh, here she is. Here she is. Secrets of a Single Mama. And she ended up getting fired from the CPS. She worked for them. Secrets of a Single Mama. There she is right there. So, go check her out. I think I'm going to get off here now. I've been on here for so long. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's live stream. I really enjoyed talking with you guys and sharing with you guys about recovery and addiction and how it affects us and all those things. I really, really hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, I enjoy sharing with you guys. I enjoy helping you guys. You're welcome. Thank you guys so much for coming in. Thank you everyone. If you guys haven't already, please go subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel. I'll show it to you real fast. It's Real Talk Recovery with Nicole. I've had the YouTube channel for like 5 years or something, 4 years. And I love it. It's my passion. So let's go to my channel. Hey, that's me. Real Talk Recovery with Nicole. All of you guys are invited. Come on over. I have to go on the recovery clinic, so I don't know what time we're going to do our live tomorrow night with Baby Dunk, but she's coming on tomorrow night. I just got to find out what time I'm doing the recovery clinic at. But please come over, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you guys need any support, you can always DM me, and let's stick together, all of us mamas. And I love you guys very, very much, and I will do anything I can to support y'all. And I'll see y'all tomorrow night, same time. Mwah!